Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Trevor fires for the back of the end zone, and that ball is going to be caught for the touchdown by Brian Thomas Jr. What a throw and catch. He tiptoed along the end line. Touchdown, Jacksonville. Fires deep downfield. Got a man. That's Brian Thomas Jr. 50 in the Colts territory. 35, 30, 25, 10, 5. Touchdown, Brian Thomas Jr. Just went 85 yards.
He's a playmaker. That's what stands out to me. It's just not one thing. We all know he's fast. You know, I can't really point to his releases. Can't really point to how he comes out of his routes. He just makes plays.
Looking, steps up, fires to the back of the end zone. Brian Thomas Jr. Did he double catch it? Yes, it is. Touchdown. He bobbled it, but hung on. Brian Thomas Jr. has the score, and Jacksonville is taking the lead.
Yeah, he's only going to get better once he masters his craft as far as his stance off the line, as far as come off the ball. You'll see in games to come, he'll get better, and even next year, he's going to be even that much better than he is right now. Right now, he's just getting his feet wet and showing us what he can do. So I'm looking for this guy to be a big-time playmaker for us in the years to come, and I'm glad to have him part of the Jaguars.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
Oh, that's right. The band is back together. The preliminaries are done, and it is time for Jaguar training camp. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Jaguars Today. I'm Mike Dempsey. Hello, Tony Smith.
Hello.
I think you're Tony Smith, right? I vaguely recall what you look like. I know what you sound like. I heard you you sounded great last week when I was out and about in the car listening to Jaguars Today.
Appreciate it.
On 1010X. They always sound great, though. I'm not surprised at that, but just got to remember what you look like. It's been a little while for the two of us to be together, Tone. I got my training camp haircut last week. Got in my last summer round with Young Denmark. Good morning, Young Denmark.
Good morning, young Mike.
We survived it, right? Yesterday?
Yes, 2 whole bottles of water and a Powerade for you, boy.
Yeah, I drank a lot more. I think I drank the equivalent of like 6 bottles of water yesterday, you know, counting all the ice and all that stuff. But, you know, hey, it's hot. It's Florida. It's the summertime. Duh. All right. So just be prepared when you're going out to take in Jaguar training camp, which, Tony, I will be out there sweating my you-know-whats on Wednesday morning like everybody else. Looking forward to it. And now all the little storylines that we discussed that might come to fruition, we get to find out what actually happens on the football field for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, we do. We have all the offseason questions that we've had. We feel like this is what the answers to how they're going about answering offensive line, running back, all these different things that we've talked about. We've got our guesses as to how well or how poorly they may play out. Well, you know, Wednesday, the process of answering those questions in reality start to get answered. The offensive line, obviously, none of that really gets answered till the pads come on. And even with that, it's not until there's an opponent on the other side really testing them. So maybe, you know, talking to, you know, Jamal St. Cyr about this last week, I think he's right. I think the first real solid idea we'll have of how much they have or haven't improved on the offensive line is when they go to the practice against Miami.
Sure.
Right, and you get to see it for those couple days where they can at least set it up where it's as real as it can be, basically in the preseason. The preseason games to some extent, but who knows how much you want to play who when, right? In those situations, down there against Miami, you want to play your starters as much as you can because you need to get them full practices. So there'll at least be one day down there where they go.
Yeah.
Right, against the Dolphins, and that may be the first real time that we have an idea of how they're going to handle any of those things. But I do think it's interesting, even starting on Wednesday this week, because the most interesting question on the offensive line to me is Anton and exactly how he's going to deal with what the coach had to say a month ago about him. And I think you start getting an idea of what that answer is for him on Wednesday, right? Like his attitude and the way he carries himself, even beginning training camp, is a big step towards whether or not the message has been really received by Anton Harrison that we can start to find out on Wednesday.
Well, let's be clear. Nothing that happens in training camp is any guarantee of anything that's going to happen once the season begins.
No.
But the pecking order gets established. Like you said, does Anton Harrison come out and look like a guy who says, hey, this is mine, and don't even think about it? And he plays that way and secures that spot, and they start talking about him in a different way. We see a fully committed Anton Harrison. We see a guy who is living up to his vast potential, these kind of things, and we're excited for the season that he's about to have. I'm sure they're going to say they're going to be excited about everybody, but I think that's what we're going to try and figure out as much as anything over the next several weeks is what is the pecking order of some of this stuff. You know, I was following along while I was out. I know you had Jamal St. Cyr and John Shipley in. They backed up what Frank Frangie told me in terms of who they think the starting running back on this team is or is going to be. And it's a little bit of semantics, but I asked Frank very pointedly, first carry of training camp, who is the starter the first moment of camp? And they're all saying Tank Bigsby, Tony. And that may, in fact, be the case. You know, I don't think they drafted Bajal Tootin for no reason. I think they spent a lot of time paying attention to how they can improve the running back room this offseason. So they feel like there's a need for an upgrade there. But he's not the only guy. And, in fact, today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day is looking at 4 players that all could be starters or they all could come off the bench all season long. We just don't know. And so what we're asking you today is most starts this season, Bigsby among them. I mean, Bigsby, could he be the starter for 17 games? I think he could be.
Could be.
You know, I don't think it's likely that he is because you got so many guys competing for that's one of the spots, but he absolutely could be. And again, the play-by-play voice, 2 of the best guys on the Jaguar beat are backing that sentiment up, right? Wyatt Milum, I think people look at Ezra Cleveland as kind of a guy who can get picked off on that offensive line. This is not the regime that extended him on and on. They invested in him. They talked about wanting to build that offensive line. Could he get in there early? Maason Smith, he's the one winning the poll so far this morning. A lot of people just think he's going to start maybe with Eric Armstead or maybe in place of Eric Armstead. I think Eric Armstead's going to be a starter on this football team. So then it comes down to, do they feel comfortable playing 2 guys as the primary guys in the defensive tackle rotation that profile best as 3 techniques, maybe the same position. And then Dewey Wingard as well, who it just seems like every time you're out there, guy makes plays, he finds the ball finds him. He's a vet, he's been around. I think there's a lot of, maybe not a lot, but some uncertainty, at least, in that safety room. He may face an uphill battle, though, because they drafted a guy fairly early with their 2nd pick in Caleb Ransaw. They signed a guy in Eric Murray. They've got incumbents that were playing ahead of Wingard as well. So, but Dewey may just be that guy who's unkillable, man. He just keeps showing up and putting his best foot forward until he finally finds the coaching staff that thinks of him more as a full-time player.
Yeah, the discussion about which of those 4 guys is going to start the most games, it's 4 different paths, right, to how that's going to happen. I think there is at least a feeling, as you said, with Tank Bigsby right now, that if you had to pick the most likely week 1 starter, it feels like it's Tank Bigsby at this point in the process. That might change in 2 days. Who knows exactly what that's going to look like once these guys get into camp and preseason comes and goes and all these things. That can obviously change. The Wingard one is interesting because I do think you don't draft Ransaw unless the idea is he's going to be a starting safety for you at some point, right? Like, that's the idea that they have. I think the Wingard question is, how long do they have to wait until they feel comfortable with Ransaw as the full-time free safety, right? And I don't think the answer to that is week 1, but I don't know how far into the season you have to get before you get to that. And the Tank thing is interesting because you do have 2 other guys that could be the starter now, much less once we get into the season, exactly what it's going to look like. It's different with all 4 guys. The Maason one, it's interesting that he's leading the poll because he's the hardest for me to see starting, right, among the 4 guys this way. It's not that there's no path to him starting, but he's the hardest for me at the beginning of the season for me to see him starting. I could see Milum winning the job, at left guard.
I could see Tank winning the job.
Right. And if Milum wins the job at left guard, that's your answer.
But I could also see Maason Smith, to be fair, we don't know how they're going to view him. He's a massive guy. Can they look at him and say he can do some of the things we need out of a traditional nose while also providing push in the pocket? And we're going to rotate these guys on the interior of the defensive line, which every team does every year. So, look, hopefully.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, hopefully it's a good conversation today on that front. We'll get into the Jags' overall roster heading into training camp as well. ESPN did a, comparison list of all the rosters in the National Football League. The bad news, Jags are down to 22.
Mm-hmm.
The good news, the Colts and the Titans are worse. All right, so at least 2 of your 3 division opponents are considered to be behind you when the season starts, at least according to the consensus over there at ESPN. And for the Titans, obviously they're going to be relying on Cam Ward to be their signal caller this year. They're going to have to, as Will Levis, Tone, reportedly will undergo surgery, and it's scheduled for about a week from now, and it's going to end his season. He's not going to play at all this year. It's going to be surgery on his throwing shoulder. And again, Will Levis, that may be a benefit to the Titans to not have him available, but he is an experienced guy, so you got a rookie quarterback, and we'll see what the backup situation plays out to be in Nashville this year. But let's just hope, as we saw, Levi Anzarike, the defensive lineman for the Lions, gets hurt, and now he's out for the year. It's going to happen around the league. Let's hope it doesn't happen here in Duval. And I would hope that there is, look, there's no guarantee. An injury can occur anytime you're on the field at any given rep. But I did, like many, enjoy watching the Jags prepare, up their conditioning and workouts. So with episode 3 of The Hunt that came out last week, that was fun to watch. Team Foye, Aluakin, and company just dominated the proceedings there and won that handily. So I guess they don't have to take a conditioning test is the winning prize for that for training camp, bro. I don't want to be I'll be out there, Tone. Dylan and I played golf yesterday, got in 18 holes. I came home, I got 4 miles in. But don't put a clock on me. I don't want to have to prove it to you. I can grind and sweat it out and do all that kind of stuff. By the way, E.T. Just a moment ago walked in. Lauren Brooks was nice enough to pick up all our training camp credentials.
Yeah.
So E.T. handed me mine. That's a haggard-looking picture of your boy. Am I right? Right? Seriously, you can get a close-up of this if you want to. And then it dawned on me, because it's the same picture from last year. Last year, I had kidney stones, right? And I lost a ton of weight. You don't think Awaken 180 will knock it off you. Whatever, it was a bad situation. I was way under what I wanted to be. And I think this is more reflective of that. I don't think I look this skeletal today as I did in this photo. I got the lopsided beard, man. I just look like I don't take a good picture, people. That source material is probably the biggest issue there. So, anyway, it's I looked at it. I got like every credential that I've ever had, basically, to everything, and I was looking at a couple the other day. I'm like, man, I look young. Look at me. Look at me looking all young like that. I still probably have the same Facebook photo up from I don't know, when I first got my Facebook account. I look youthful in that. Not so much anymore. But, hey, that's just the way it goes. The Jags have worn me down over the years. But not this year, Tony. This year is excitement and exuberance because they're going to get it all heading in the right direction. At least we can hope here before training camp even opens up. But it's only a couple of days away. 1010XL will be all over Jaguars training camp. We'll do a live show out there to close things out. Fan Cam's doing the chili cook-off on Wednesday. Cam, you better bring supplies for your boys, all right, because I will be stopping by. I'll have the cooler ready to pack up. I'll take in a little practice and then deliver to Messrs. Smith and Denmark that morning. So today, if you want to be a part of the program, as always, 641-1010. You want to talk about anything you're excited about for training camp tomorrow, Tony, I think we're going to do best position battles, and how we think. And some of the guys we're talking about today are involved in those position battles. But how do we rank what we think are really the strongest competitions where it's truly up in the air who that opening day starter is going to be? That'll be tomorrow's Tuesday Top 5. For today, 641-1010 on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat. if you like, you can watch the show there. You can watch us on X or on Facebook as well, or hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
Now, you didn't drink a bunch of claws on Saturday night, did you? Or did you?
No.
Okay, because I heard Hick talking about somebody on the text line this morning, said they literally passed out on the 14th hole on Saturday.
No, I didn't do that. I can't believe you buried the lead for the show today.
What did I bury?
The 14U flag football championship.
Right? We are champs.
Jaguars Today.
We are champs.
Wild.
Where are
We
they going to
are
have the
champs.
parade?
All right, I got to say, great catch.
Yeah.
The ball a little smaller? Like, is that?
Yes, it's smaller.
It's a little smaller.
By a little bit.
I was gonna say, all right. It's a great catch, though.
Yeah, it
Very
was.
nice catch. Congrats to the Jags under 14 flag football team. They are, what does that make them? National champs?
Yeah, because they played all of the, which is weird. Like, the team they played for the championship was the Falcons, but the kids that they were from the Falcons were based out of Miami. Like, that makes no sense. Like, all of our Jacksonville kids were from Jacksonville. Like, the main receiver's from Mandarin. One of our kids, Jaden Barnett from Baldwin, scored the first touchdown yesterday. The quarterback's from Middleburg. Like,
Jaden Barnett gets shouted out by name, I noticed.
Yeah, your boy.
Your boy.
But, like, all the kids were from here. And the Falcons were like, yeah, we're going to go down to the hotbed of football and get these kids out of Miami, which was weird. But
yeah, that is kind of weird.
Whatever.
Right? But didn't help them. We served them up.
They go down to Miami and they find a corner who's a foot shorter than the wide receiver he's covering. Like, what was going on?
Yeah. Now, to be fair, like the overall, they won the 14 and under, right? Didn't the international championship, didn't Mexico win the flag football championship?
I have no idea.
Or something like I saw that, and people were like, well, wait a minute. You're telling me you don't want NFL players to take over? You can't beat Mexico now, with what you're doing? I don't know, man. I don't follow it that closely, but it was all over my timeline. So, yes, congrats to all those folks who are part of making that happen to bring a little glory to Old Duval right there on the flag football gridiron. All right, we're ready to rock and roll. Training camp it feels like moments away. And we'll be covering it wall to wall here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, everybody, Mike Dempsey here for my friends at Dandy Foods, man. Been talking about them for a decade now. And if you listen to this show, my favorite is the tuna salad triangle sandwich with the blue label. It's been blue since the very first one I bought, and that was probably, 25, 30 years ago at least. I'm a creature of habit. I like consistency. I can eat the same thing every day. I like knowing that I'll see Danny's tuna salad sandwiches at my local dailies. Always a full selection of fresh, quality sandwiches. Listen, there's a lot of different options out there. Fresh this, store brand that. For me, if it doesn't say Dandy on the label, I'm not going to try it. I'm going to get in the car. I'm going to go to somewhere that carries Dandy. I trust the brand that I've enjoyed long before I ever met the Thompsons, the creators of Dandy. By the way, they're closing in on 70 years now successfully here in Jacksonville. A pretty damn good run for a family business. So, folks, the next time you're on the go, you want a quality product, do what I do. Stop into the dailies and make yours a Dandy. And do it today.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Door Studios. Superior products, exceptional service. Every game is a story.
And the game is tied.
Every play is a moment waiting to happen.
We're going to overtime.
Your home for the most play-by-play is 1010XL.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
Lauren Brooks here from Helmets and Heels. Circa Resort and Casino has two epic pro football contests, Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Circa Million, pick 5 games weekly against the spread for $1 million grand prize. Circa Survivor, 1 pick a week, no spread. Last one standing wins $15 million. Enter at any Circa in Nevada, play anywhere. Sign up for either and get 50% off a 2-night stay. Helmets and Heels will be live from Circa in Vegas on August 22nd. Full contest details at circasports.com and the 1010XL homepage.
If your house feels like a Florida swamp and your thermostat's just throwing out suggestions, then it's time to call Duck Duck Air Conditioning.
They showed up fast, fixed it right, and even cleaned up after. My house is finally chilled, and so am I.
Whether your AC needs a quick fix, a full replacement, or just a little TLC, Duck Duck Air Conditioning has got you covered with fast and honest service. Call 904-862-6769 to get your cool back, or online at duckduckac.com. When your AC is stuck, call the Duck.
Dreamfinders Homes Monday.
Jaguars Today.
Big Chief Tire is always looking for ways to better serve the Jacksonville community we call home. Lauren Brooks here. Starting Monday, June 16th, they are opening their 6th shop location in Mandarin, providing more Jacksonville residents with a locally owned auto repair business that they can trust. Visit the new shop on San Jose Boulevard today for all your vehicle needs, including brake repair, new tires, and more. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment today.
Hey, Jacksonville, need a fence and ready to save? At Superior Fence and Rail, you'll lock in 5% off your fence project when you sign by the end of July. A limited time offer for savings and peace of mind this summer. Now accepting appointments for a free estimate. So act fast and get 5% off your entire fence project when you finalize by July 31st. Cannot be combined with other offers. New contracts only.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com. This is Hayes Carlion for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. The online banking services are outstanding. So easy to use, depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. I also go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Listening that fits your schedule perfectly.
Absolutely brilliant.
Go on demand.
Ad-free shows after the live shows end.
How about that? Channel 5.
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Search where you find podcasts.
Want your son or daughter to enjoy sports year-round? Then log on to I-9 Sports with fall and winter registration open right now, including girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows, plus plenty of other spots and sports on the First Coast. I9sports.com. Enter 1010 for a discount.
Are you living with diabetic neuropathy? That pain and numbness in your hands or feet? What about chronic knee or shoulder pain? Maybe you've tried various treatments, but they've been ineffective. Now there's a solution. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso specializes in advanced pain management and offers breakthrough neuromodulation treatments for those conditions. His innovative treatments target the source of your pain, offering relief where medications may fall short. All procedures are performed outpatient with no hospitalization required. Just a chance for you to feel and live better. If you want to learn more, Dr. Formoso is hosting free informational classes where he'll explain the benefits of neuromodulation therapies and how they can help eliminate your pain. Spaces are limited, so call to reserve your spot now with offices on the South Side, West Side, and Jacksonville Beach. Relief is possible with Formoso Spine and Joint Pain Specialists.
The SEC and the ACC will face off in Jacksonville at the 81st Tax Slayer Gator Bowl game December 27th at 7:30 p.m. Join us for Saturday Night Football in prime time at the bank. Preferred locations and pricing available now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, here we go. Training camp week is upon us. Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, Tony Baselli, Travis Hunter, all the newness around the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, Brian Thomas Jr., Josh Hines Allen, Trayvon Walker. No surprise to see Trayvon pick first in the draft, right?
Oh, yeah.
For the Iron Jaguar games right there. I mean, if you don't know what the game is, yeah, I'll pick Trayvon as well. Freakish athlete that he is, and like everyone wanted, like, come on, you knew he was going first. I was not shocked on it. I was a little disappointed, I guess, but not surprised. I told Dylan this before I left that ESPN was doing the series of top 10 players at every position, and I think the guy who deserves it the most at the moment is Brian Thomas Jr. I also thought, no, he's going to be an honorable mention. I thought he'd get enough that he wouldn't be the others receiving votes category, but it is a little mystifying to me. Like, and again, I thought, would they vote Mike Evans in? We kind of went through some of the receivers. I thought Tyreek Hill being third, coming off the season that he had, was surprising. Everyone just thinks Malik Neighbors is better than Brian Thomas Jr., even though Brian Thomas Jr. on a per-target basis vastly outproduced him last year. I think some of that is cooked into, hey, we thought he was better going into it. We were wrong about Marvin Harrison. We were wrong about Rome Odunze compared to Brian Thomas Jr. We can't be a complete ofer with this. I think some
Malik
of that
wasn't bad.
Right. No, he was good. He was good. There's right. And I'm not even that upset. If you want to say Malik Neighbors compared to Brian Thomas, I definitely think he should have been in the top 10, but I honestly would have been surprised had he been included there.
Yeah, I probably would have been a little bit surprised too. I think if you're going to have Malik Neighbors in there somewhere in the top 10, that's where you should start considering Brian Thomas Jr., right? Like it's at that spot or maybe one spot ahead of him coming off the seasons that the two of them had. And I don't have a problem with Malik Neighbors being in the top 10. That doesn't bother me that he's already at that point. If you're going to get bothered, it would be BTJ. That's where you should start considering him, right? And it's not like a bunch of the guys that came between Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. were a bunch of guys that it's like, well, I can understand why there are arguments for all these guys, but I did think the write-up on BTJ was good. That it's basically saying when we put this list together next year, he's going to be in the 10, right? Like that's essentially what it said. He's going to be in the 10 next year. And I couldn't agree more, and that was the question of the day on Friday was how many guys are going to be in the top 10 list next year, right? And I had to remind myself because I didn't remember this. Last season, the Jags had 4.
At ETN, right? Was ETN last year?
ETN was in the top 10.
Because he had scored all the touchdowns the year before.
Foye was in the top 10. Evan Ingram was number 9 among tight ends, and Josh Hines-Allen was 8 among the edge rushers.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think, I wouldn't go any higher than 2, personally.
That's what I went with.
And because Josh Hines-Allen's been there.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr. is emerging there. Foye is going to be Foye for the next several years, and that only is good enough to get him to around linebacker 18. I'm not saying that's where he is. I'm just saying the perception of him is not going to change drastically, I don't think, this year. He's not going to all of a sudden be an 8-sack guy, or something like that.
And it was my big gripe with all the lists came down to why do we get a blurb about Foye at 18 on off-ball linebackers and nothing on the edge rusher that's 15? Why?
Yeah.
I would love to know something somebody said about Josh Hines-Allen coming off that year.
They need to fill some column inches that day. I don't know why because there's no limit. You're not putting it in a newspaper. You don't have to squeeze it in.
It was random when they chose to give the blurb and not give the blurb. I don't know. I would have loved to have known.
Somebody on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures in regards to the poll today and what we're talking about. It's unbelievable how everyone has written off ETN. I don't know if it's people writing off ETN or...
And it's only locally.
Right, and people recognizing, hey, by the way, Tank Bigsby outperformed him significantly with the same offensive line last year. And the Jags went out there with the thought of, all right, if we don't get Travis Hunter, we'll get Genty. And if we don't get Genty, it might be R.J. Harvey. And then he came off the board. All right, we'll trade back. There's still explosive runners to be had. And they drafted 2 more guys. No one here is in the business of writing anyone off just for the heck of it on a whim.
No.
We're just trying to anticipate what do you think is next? What's coming up? And personally, I don't know. I think it could be Tank. I think it could be Tootin. I think it could be ETN. I'd be shocked if it's LaQuint Allen as the starter. Now, could he have a significant role as your third down back? Absolutely. But, look at the raw numbers of what ETN put up side by side with Tank Bigsby last year. Ball security is the only thing in his favor, and we remember the big fumble at the beginning of the season. It's the only one that ETN lost all year. It's a huge one, obviously. That's going to be the storyline to me at that position all training camp. Ball security, pass protection, period.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what everyone's going to be watching for. And I mentioned that it's only locally because it continues to go on. When people are doing stories for ESPN and CBS and all these different allocations, they are going through what they expect to be the big stories, like players to keep your eye on, bounce back candidates, like these kind of things, surprising players on these teams. Etienne's name gets mentioned quite a bit, right? On those kind of stories when they're talking about the Jags is Etienne and what exactly is going to happen for him this year and what kind of bounce back season could he have. I think only locally has it even been picked up to this point that he's not the guy necessarily going into the season. I don't think that has hit the whole football watching world yet, that Etienne might possibly not be the guy that's going to be featured in their backfield.
Who gets first carry on Wednesday in team drill and team setting? Or even in just like, you know how it is, pecking order. Like, if you do a wide receiver drill, who's going to be the first guy in line? It's going to be Brian Thomas, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to maybe be De'Ami Brown with some veteran deference, right? Ahead of whatever. But there's kind of a pecking order established.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to tell a lot. If Tank Bigsby opens up with the first opportunity, that's going to tell you there is momentum heading in that direction. I personally think it'll be Etienne.
I do too.
And that's me, you know. And again, I'm not trying to look, I hope Etienne gets back to the guy who was averaging over 5 yards a carry a couple years ago and scores double-digit touchdowns. Put it all together. I think the range of outcomes are so wide, though. Start all 17. Start the year as a starter, lose the job kind of halfway, become the third down back, be trade fodder either before or during the season if the rest of this group shows that they can handle the duties necessary to make this offense function at a high level. I mean, I think it's all over the board with Travis Etienne. That's me. Maybe the coaching staff doesn't see it the same way, but that's how I see it heading in with a couple days to go.
Yeah, look, my opinion on this has not changed since the whole running back conversation started here. I think it's going to be a hot hand thing. I really do. I think it's going to come down to one of those situations where they're going to be in games deciding this is the guy that's rolling right now. We're going to feature him. We can feature him right now, so we're going to feature him right now. So to some degree, the conversations about who's starting, right, these kind of things, I think there are interesting conversations to be had about who do you think is going to lead the team in carries and exactly how much more opportunity is that player going to get than whoever the second guy is, right, on that list, because I don't think there's going to be a huge gap. But if there's going to be a big gap between a player and anybody else on the roster, I think if I had to pick who the most likely for that was going to be, it would be Tootin in my mind. But I don't think that's going to be week one, that it's going to look like. I think that's going to take time.
Does he follow the Bucky Irving path and become the second half of the season weapon?
Right.
And is that what they envisioned when they drafted him? I think in part they probably absolutely envisioned that. Now, whether that
they've
comes
been able to
fruition,
do that with that guy.
Sure.
They've seen Cohen do it.
All right, 641-1010. Let's go to the Checkmate Coatings phone lines for the first time this morning. Philip in Arlington wants to talk training camp. Philip, good morning.
Top of the morning, boys. Sounds like all the troops are reassembled, baby, because it's go time. But I need to verify something I heard at the top of this show, and you repeated it. You and Dylan voluntarily went out in 113-degree heat yesterday to do what?
Play golf.
You weren't at gunpoint? Are you crazy?
No, it was fantastic out there, man. I mean, honestly, I didn't even. It was warm, but it wasn't as bad as I think the day before. And I don't know, man. Yeah, you know, we live in Florida. It's not like the first 100-degree day we've ever had, Philip.
I'm straight out of Duval. The only time I left my house yesterday, I got a convenience store. If anybody knows where Arlington Road, just south of Atlanta, it's got a pretty red top. I was out of beer, man, and I barely made it back. It was so hot. They got all kind of good crazy pills. But talking about the running back, man, last 2 years, Etienne gets the ball. He's hitting the backfield. Like, I agree 100% with that texter. Etienne's not dried up. Why can't they complement each other, man? But what are we looking at this season, man? We got it's like a guy that won the lottery, and he's never had a Mercedes. Liam Cohen's going to be driving a nice new Mercedes. I hope he don't wrap it around an oak tree. But God in heaven, how about getting to score more than 7 points before halftime? And please don't start 0-4 this season.
All right, Philip, thank you. There's a lot on that plate right there. Look, I don't think that the team is like Liam Cohen's not going, who can we play at running back to the exclusion of all others? Why can't? Yes, if they can use these guys to complement each other, they will. But generally, you're going to go with about 2 backs, right? Yeah. I mean, occasionally that third guy gets a few reps, but you're going to go with 2 backs. They're going to get in a rhythm. And could that be Etienne and Bigsby? Could it be Etienne and Tootin? Could it be Bigsby and Tootin? Or any of those combinations?
Yeah.
I think that's all possible. And I think LeKent Allen is in the mix for the third down role. But, I mean, look, did he get hit in the backfield? Did Tank run behind the same line or not?
He did.
And he averaged almost a full yard per carry more than Etienne did last year. I don't know what more side-by-side comparison can tell you that Tank outplayed Travis Etienne last year. Just an objective looking at the number. That doesn't mean that guarantees Tank or anybody else anything going into it. Fresh eyes and all that. But, I mean, they're not blind. They watch that film too, and there has to be a reason Tank outperformed Etienne last year.
And I do think there's something to contract years for players. Like, I do think there's something to that. And Etienne is a really talented athlete.
Absolutely.
Right. And so that guy going into a year where he knows what I do this year is going to get me paid or not get me paid based on what I accomplish when I'm given the opportunities. Right. Like, he has the opportunity to hit a payday next offseason to some degree that right now it feels like it's so far away because there are questions about his role in the offense this year. How much interest is there in the trade market, even for Etienne? How interested will teams be in free agency in a player like Travis Etienne next offseason? Well, you can get people interested if you play well enough this year to get them interested.
Oh, no doubt.
Right? And so whatever opportunities he has, do I think he's a prime candidate for a bounce-back season if given the opportunities? Yes, I do. I think he's a talented enough player that is definitely in the cards for Etienne.
Well, a lot of it is going to come down to the offensive line, as it always does. So we'll talk about that when we come back in a moment. If you want to get in, 641-1010 on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines, almost to the eve of training camp practice number 1. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark here with you. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
1010XL.
I suggest we use it.
Jacksonville Sports Empire.
It is your destiny.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Hayes Carline here. If you're shopping for a new ride, you've got to check out Atlantic Infinity. Not only do you get a luxury vehicle, you also get the Atlantic Infinity Promise Free with every new car. That's almost $2,500 in added value just for buying smarter. And you don't have to sweat it out on the lot. Shop in their indoor climate-controlled showrooms. It's cool, comfortable, hassle-free. They're on Atlantic near St. John's Bluff, or browse anytime at AtlanticInfinity.com.
Firehouse Subs has fries. Their hometown hero since '94 just cranked up the heat. Hot subs, crispy fries, golden, pillowy on the inside, and perfectly seasoned. Over 30 Jacksonville locations. Firehouse Subs, homegrown and now with fries.
As a contractor, finding reliable subcontractors is key to project success. Prosser here. Guys, that's where Lloyd's Heating and Air shines. Not just your mechanical HVAC expert, but your partner, understanding every facet of construction to keep your project on track. Lloyd's will spot issues early before they cause delays. If you're a contractor with a need for reliability, visit LloydsHeatingandAir.com. Lloyd's Heating and Air, keeping you comfortable in every season.
It's a Dreamfinders Homes Monday.
Official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hi, folks. Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting. Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, letting you know that Hardball now offers web stores, so your employees can order their own branded gear, and you have more time for Wordle. Check it out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Friends, we have a very special guest on the line.
The Checkmate Coatings phone line is where the action happens.
Where's the phone? Over there.
Get expert interviews and listener opinions all day, every day, from the drill all the way to Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Frank Frangie here to tell you about the coolest new thing, a putting green in my backyard that my friends at Sunshine Turf installed. Sunshine Turf can do the same for you. They'll come to your house, they'll create a custom design for your space, and you'll have an authentic golf course experience right in your own backyard. I freaking love it. Sunshine Turf is family owned and they made the process so simple. So visit sunshineturf.info or call them at 904-383-0243 and get a free quote today for your own putting green. Get it from Sunshine Turf.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
Rebound Rehabilitation. 11 great locations across the First Coast, and they're just a click away when it comes to feeling strong and healthy again. If you need the best path to recovery, look no further than Rebound Rehab. Log on and check out one of their great 11 locations.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, gang's all here. Ready to roll for training camp. Practice in 2 days. See you all out there, I hope. A bunch of you anyway. Drew will be out there, I think, Wednesday doing the show. I think they're out there Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to be out there. I'm going to be out there a bunch. So we're going to be broadcasting from the last open training camp practice for the public. So, and we'll have tons of wall-to-wall coverage here with, what do you think? On average, dozen 1010XL personnel.
There'll be a bunch of us out there.
In attendance.
Yeah.
That's kind of how that rolls, right? All right, so let's talk about one of the keys to everything that's going to happen offensively this year. Or maybe the biggest key is the offensive line. I mean, I think the biggest key is Trevor, still. You got to protect him. I get it. If you don't have any offensive line, no quarterback can operate. Okay. When you look at ESPN's NFL roster rankings, they're ranking the starting lineups and projecting how good they're going to be, which, by the way, let me just point this out as an aside, okay? Maason Smith is running away with it at the moment as the leading vote getter today. He's got, call it 50% of the vote. Wyatt Milum with 27%, Bigsby down at 14%. If you go to ESPN's starting lineup projections, now they project more than 11 guys oftentimes, right? On offense here, they've got quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers. That's 6, 7 with the tight end. So it's 12 with the offensive line. But they project Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby basically as co-starters on this team. Defensively, they project 5 defensive linemen, Tony, as starters for this football team, which would be fine if you didn't have 5 guys in the secondary as well and 2 linebackers. So they've got 12 starters on defense as well. And I get, all right, is nickel a starter? But Maason Smith, Eric Armstead, Devon Hamilton, not all starting for this football team. And they're all listed as starters there. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I do, again, I could see a path to any of the guys in our poll today starting, but I don't think Maason Smith is starting at the expense of Eric Armstead this year.
No.
That's my feel. I think Eric Armstead will have somewhat of a rejuvenated season moving back inside, new defensive coaching staff, new expectations, new demands, and hopefully we'll get the player we thought we were getting that we're excited about when the Jags signed him. Like, hey, we need some pressure from the interior of this defensive line. But nevertheless, they do project 2 guys, but it kind of comes with an asterisk because they've got 12 starters on both sides here.
Right, and it is kind of a start in the NFL for some of these positions has become somewhat of a sillier
muddle,
stat.
but somebody is still the starter.
Right, someone gets the first snap of the game.
You may play the same amount of snaps or even more, but if you're not out there when the offense or defense takes the field, you're not the starter.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
And the Pro Football Reference page still shows how many games you started.
Right. And again, that doesn't mean you can't even be more valuable to the team. Was Bucky Irving more valuable than Rachaad White last year in Tampa for Liam Cohen? Absolutely. He started 3 games.
Yep.
Right? Officially started 3 games. But you knew who the guy was that you had to worry about in that running game in the second half of the season. There was no question about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, offensive line, they list the strengths and weaknesses. Biggest strength is edge rusher, in their opinion. I think that's fair, right? Especially with Agba coming in. It could be wide receiver. I think those are the 2 positions people are the most bullish about for the Jags. But biggest weakness, offensive line, is the Jags' main concern for the 3rd consecutive season. This is actually Mike Clay speaking at ESPN, more of a fantasy guy, but Mike's a good football guy as well. Tackles Walker Little and Anton Harrison posted poor pass block win rates in each of the past 2 seasons, and they're expected to start again. The interior will have a bit of a new look. Incumbent left guard Ezra Cleveland will be joined by 2 newcomers, center Robert Hainsey and right guard Patrick McCarry, but it's hard to imagine this group making much of a leap. I don't know if I agree with that assessment. I can see why you think they might be stuck in neutral. Well, we didn't love these tackles anyway, and they're running it back with them. Well, you're not going to have 5 new starters on the offensive line. And whether this regime liked it or not, they pot committed money to Walker Little, right? And Anton Harrison, maybe he starts, maybe he doesn't start. We'll see. These guys are going to get pushed by veterans, not big name veterans, but nonetheless, they just assume Ezra Cleveland is going to start, and maybe he will. But I think they clearly brought in Wyatt Milum to start sooner rather than later. They envision him as a long-term piece that is going to help this team. And I feel, McCarry, Hainsey, if they are even league average, this offensive line can be somewhat better. Is it going to make much of a leap? Maybe I can understand that. Like, I don't think they're going to become a top 5 or 6 or 7 unit in the National Football League, but I definitely think they can be improved. At least maybe it's just the optimist in me, Tone, because they have to be improved if this team's going to get anything accomplished on that side of the ball. Yeah,
I do think we're all caught up in the optimism of the offseason, right? And how, I do it. Right, like how much of a focus it's been. The coaching staff has been willing to say it over and over and over, right?
Yes.
Like it's this. I can remember we played the cut last week when we had it on the Tuesday Top 5. We were talking about the offensive line rank going into training camp this week, right? And so I went back and found a bunch of the old cuts from Liam Cohen from the time that he got hired here, right? And he had the comment when he was on with Frangie. And one of the things he said when he was on with Franchi, the day that they had the press conference down there, was the idea of offensive line is our biggest priority, right? Like we are circling this in ink, right, as something essentially that we have got to get addressed over the course of this offseason. And so I think they've addressed it about as well as they could in this particular offseason, right? Like, I don't think there were a bunch of great options available in free agency when it actually happened, right? With the biggest name free agent being franchise tagged in Kansas City and now getting the big deal, right? There weren't a whole lot of other names where it was like, that's the guy you got to go get to improve your group. I think they did what they could from that regard, and they could have been more focused on that in the draft, but they chose not to, right? And I'm okay with Hunter winding up being the guy that they go with there, and we're going to see what happens with Milum. I think they've done what they could with the options that were available to them in this offseason, but I do think the ceiling for this, in my mind, in reality, is them going from a bottom 5 or 6 group in the NFL to the top of it is like 12 or 13.
Yeah,
right,
like inside the top 15.
Right, like they're just not going to be bad along the offensive line. I think there's the possibility has been brought into the room of them not being actively bad on the offensive line. Now, can they get to 12 or 13? I think that's the peak of what they can be going into this season. So I think it's relatively likely that they're more a group that winds up 20, 22, somewhere in that kind of range, right? Like, that's where I think it's going to likely fall for them this year, which that can be good enough with some of the options they have at some of the skill positions for them to be okay. But there will be big moments in this season where the offensive line lets them down in a big way. I expect that to happen. I just do. I can't predict what those moments are going to be, but I don't think they've improved enough along the offensive line for that not to be the case going into the season.
And again, how do we know, right? Until we get into the season, theoretically, the Jaguars are going to roll out 3.5 new starters. I say a half because Walker Little started half the year last year, right? And I don't think he gets beat out. I think he is your starting left tackle on this football team. I do think Anton will open up as a starter on the right side, but does Milum beat out Ezra Cleveland? And the other 2 spots are turning over as well. I don't know if it's enough. Nobody knows if it's going to be enough. But I remember, there would be talk about this for years. Why isn't so-and-so, the guy whose name we don't want, Bulky, done enough to improve this offensive line? And we look and we say, well, they added this guy, that guy, the other guy, the other guy. And there's like 4 or 5 new faces there. Did they get the right guys? Yeah. We don't know. And out of what was available, you could have Will Campbell on this football team. You wouldn't have Travis Hunter, but you'd have Will Campbell, and you'd also have your 36th pick, whoever that might have been, and you'd have Wyatt Milum.
Cross your fingers, he signed.
And right, well, the 36th pick, yes. Yeah. But it seems like the dam has broken on the second rounders now. But you get what I'm saying here, right? I mean, you got to give something to get. We'd be looking at who's going to draw any attention away from Brian Thomas? We're counting on De'Ami Brown to be the only viable option in the passing game. You better expect a lot out of Parker Washington, and on and on and on, right? So you've got the resources you have. They've come in and they've paid attention to that unit.
I like how much attention they paid to it, and I think they're going to be improved. I don't have any doubt that they're going to be improved along the offensive line. And with the options they had available this offseason, again, I think the plan they had and that they put in place was a good plan.
And by the way, that's really without even scratching the surface on Fred Johnson and Chuma Edoga, who are good players, right? Or at least thought to be good players. They're not great. I'm not saying, but like Fred Johnson, particularly intriguing, right? And
they're not guys where they've been on other teams. They're not guys that when they had to play, everything collapsed.
No, I mean, Fred Johnson started 5 games for the Super Bowl champs on what was regarded, and I don't think they really missed a beat, when he was in there. I'm not saying he's as, sometimes you can do that for a 5-game stretch, but he's also not looking to replace a guy on one of the best offensive lines in football. He's coming in to compete on one of the shakiest offensive lines in football. But if they can't get it done, they can't move people when it's 3rd and 4th and 1, then it's going to be another season of frustration and disappointment.
Absolutely.
For this offense, and then likely for the football team as a whole. Halfway home, Jaguars Today, rolling into hour number 2, 641-1010. If you want to talk about any aspect of training camp, again, a little early preview for the Tuesday top 5 tomorrow. What do you think the top 5 position battles, or at least the most interesting ones to you? And we'll go through that countdown tomorrow. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, halfway home. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for big number 1 Duval Ford. Do they have a fantastic selection of vehicles? Absolutely. Do they have the best service department in all of Duval County? Absolutely. But they also have a legacy that you can trust, going back over 110 years since they wholesaled cars from Henry Ford himself. Duval Ford has been there. They built relationships. They want your repeat business. They're going to take great care of you. See their fantastic selection of vehicles, but even beyond that, the service that they can provide. Big number 1 Duval Ford on Cassett Avenue.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. 1010XL.
Duval's just different when the Jags are good. You can feel it in the air. You can sense it all over town.
Home of the Jaguars.
Who says there's no free lunch? Join me, Prosser, and Jaguar and Gator legend Fred Taylor for free food and football talk Friday, August 8th at the Alhambra Theater. When you hear this...
Bye-bye! Brock Marionville chasing a 90-yard run.
Be caller 28 to win a pair of tickets to a free lunch with Fred. Doors open at 11. Jags talk, Gators talk, football talk, including a 1-hour Q&A with Freddie T, and we're buying your lunch. Stay tuned for this sound to win your tickets.
Bye-bye! Brock Marionville chasing a 90-yard run.
Courtesy of Jenkins Hyundai and Genesis of Jacksonville on Atlantic.
One of Beard's Diamond's most popular events ever is back. It's Christmas in July. Right now, for a limited time, you get as much as 40% off anything in our showcases. Yes, that includes engagement rings, fashion rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, pendants, colored gemstones. This is the annual store-wide sale that everyone loves, because you get December prices in July. Up to 40% off store-wide. Don't miss Christmas in July. Exclusively at Beard's Diamond at the St. John's Town Center and online at beardsdiamonds.com. Shop local. Shop Beards.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Jaguars Today.
It's a Dream Finders Homes Monday.
Summertime is busy with graduation parties, summer barbecues, festivities, family gatherings. The month of July, National Carpet Cleaning Month. So Zero Res is offering $45 per room of carpet clean and 20% off air duct cleaning services as well. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com or call them 287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spelled backwards or forwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy. Why so glum?
Stinky ice cubes, Jason. It's all downhill from here.
What?
The tap water at my place smells kind of funky. Funky tap water makes funky ice cubes. I meet a nice girl, invite her back to my place for a cocktail, and blow my whole romantic gesture with a mojito that smells like dog's feet.
Wait, I can totally make you way cooler.
I'm not taking your charity ice cubes, Jason. I have my pride.
Your pride is safe. Our plumbers can be at your house the day you call and install a whole home water purification system. Water tastes better, dishes come out cleaner, even your hair feels better after you shower.
Ooh,
The ladies love a man with soft hair, don't they, Jason?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend every day worried about the water in your own home, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, need a fence and ready to save? At Superior Fence and Rail, you'll lock in 5% off your fence project when you sign by the end of July. A limited time offer for savings and peace of mind this summer. Now accepting appointments for a free estimate. So act fast and get 5% off your entire fence project when you finalize by July 31st. Cannot be combined with other offers. New contracts only.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph has been a legend on-road. They've branched out to their off-road division as well. Give us the latest on what you can find on the asphalt.
They've got some great new products. They've got the Scrambler 400s you can get into for a little less than you might think. It's a great price point bike, but still a Triumph.
So affordability is also part of the equation.
It is, and it looks good, and it rides good.
CyclesofJacksonville.com, or check them out on their Facebook page, the showroom ready and waiting for you on Atlantic near Regency at Cycles of Jacksonville.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden Eye & Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like EVO implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bowden Eye & Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
This is your local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders for 1010XL. This update brought to you by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Breaking news out of the NFL and the AFC South. Quarterback Will Levis will undergo surgery on his throwing shoulder, which will end his 2025 season. The surgery is scheduled for July 29th. Levis has elected to have the procedure to ensure long-term health based on medical opinions, one that should help him be ready for the 2026 season. Florida State will send quarterback Tommy Castellanos, defensive lineman Darrell Jackson Jr., defensive back Earl Little Jr., and offensive lineman Richie Leonard with head coach Mike Norvell to the ACC kickoff event on July 23rd. All 17 ACC football programs will take place in the annual media event July 22nd through the 24th. Right now, 92 degrees at 10:58. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right. Little Prince for the boys and the ladies this morning on Jaguars Today. As we cruise into hour number 2 here, Tone, so much obviously is going to depend on what Trevor Lawrence does this year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, his biggest weapon is Brian Thomas Jr. Do you think that we should look at Travis Hunter as being the second biggest offensive weapon, not counting the quarterback himself, on this football team?
As an individual, maybe, because of how open the running back question is, right? So it's hard to pick any of the running backs to be.
All right, how about this? Substitute starting running back, whomever that is.
No, I think they would be a bigger weapon than Hunter.
You do? Okay. It's interesting. Like talking with Frank, he thought Frank Franchi thought De'Ami Brown. I asked him who has outproduces the other guy, De'Ami Brown over Travis Hunter. Again, looking at this ESPN piece breaking down the starting lineups.
Yeah,
biggest X factor is going to be Travis Hunter in every one of these kind of situations that you look at.
Yeah,
and as they write, the best case scenario, Hunter's almost a full-time two-way player, performs on both sides of the ball right away. They need him to be.
Yeah.
I mean, for the investment that they made, they certainly need him to be. Where do they need him more, in your opinion?
Offense.
I think they need him more on offense. I think most people feel like he's a better defensive back, despite the fact that he won the award for the best wide receiver in college football last year. And I don't believe he was a finalist for the Thorpe Award. That's, like, hey, how many Pro Bowls did you get, Fred Taylor? That's out of your control, right? And he was a phenomenal performer as a collegiate wide receiver. But if you look at this depth chart for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tyson Campbell is going to hold down one of those spots.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Lewis is going to be your nickel.
Yep.
So out of the other spot with Jarian Jones and Monteric Brown as probably your primary guys that you're looking at there, I don't know, what they think of DeAndre Prince or Christian Braswell or any of these guys, and they are all there. But if you just take Jarian and Monteric, and most people say, Jarian will beat him out. And maybe that's the case. D-Rock, going back a few weeks, I know you had him on last week. I don't know if you got into it, thought that Monteric is a better bet to start there. But you go to the other side. If you take Travis Hunter out, again, can you get by for a week, a month, maybe, right? Does Brenton Strange blossom as a receiver this year? It's possible, but I think the presence of Travis Hunter, having all three of those guys, you're not going to run Travis Hunter deep every play. He's got the speed, but so does De'Ami Brown, so does Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
They're going to be stretching the field this year, which should open things up underneath for the likes of Brenton Strange and the backs catching the ball out of the backfield. If you don't have, they're probably going to double Brian Thomas Jr. anyway, right out of the gates, I would anticipate this year.
Yeah.
But there's going to be if Travis Hunter missed a game, there's going to be so much focus on Brian Thomas Jr. De'Ami Brown has looked good in off-season practices, but again, you got to watch out for the curse of Jaguar good. So many guys have looked good in off-season practices over the years, and then they amounted to not much of anything. I think they absolutely think De'Ami is going to be an integral part of their passing game, but he's got to show that he can do it. He's never taken on that kind of volume for an extended period of time,
right,
and been able to rise to the occasion.
Right. It's not that there aren't players in the league that are going to take a big step forward in their career there'll be a handful of guys in the league across all 22 starting positions on offense and defense. There'll be a handful of guys that have been kind of secondary role players wherever they were, and they're going to go somewhere else, and opportunities will expand, and they'll expand with it, right? They'll fill whatever space that is available to them. There'll be a handful of guys that it works that way for. I think De'Ami Brown is potentially one of those guys, but I wouldn't necessarily put it as a highly likely outcome, right, for De'Ami Brown and the Jaguars offense. It's not that I don't think it's possible that winds up being the outcome, but it's not the outcome that I necessarily expect. I think he'll be fine, right? Like, I think he'll wind up being a guy that catches, 35, 40, something.
I hope it's more than that.
Right, like somewhere in that kind of range for him, and he's, a guy that's pushing somewhere in that, 500 to 600 yard season, a handful of touchdowns this year, but
I'll say
that's more in my expectations.
If he does that, if he's like 35 for 500, I think that's a massive disappointment. If you're going to go out there and spend $10 million on this guy, there are plenty of veteran receivers you could have for less.
Sure.
I think they're really counting on his playoff run last year. Did he find it, quote unquote? All season long, he had the season high or a career high in targets. He had 40 targets. That's not a lot. 40 targets last year. But his average yards per catch came way down from where it's been in the past with more volume. One big play down the field can't skew those numbers as much. Now, he bumped it back up in the postseason, but who's the real guy? Averaged 17.8, 16.3, and 14 yards a catch in the postseason with 229 yards in 3 games. That was his year, basically. If he doesn't do that versus Tampa, is De'Ami Brown a Jacksonville Jaguar? If Liam Cohen didn't, it happens that way, right? Where you see a guy who just your team can't handle, and you think, man, if I had that guy, he would fit this role for me perfectly. And I hope he does.
Yeah.
But man, and people say, well, what about Parker Washington? Well, what about him?
Yeah.
He's a nice player. Is he ever going to be any team's, let's say, top 2 receiver?
Probably
Chances are no.
Yeah.
And unless it's by kind of default. And
certainly not on this team.
Not now.
Yeah.
It better not be the case. De'Ami Brown had 308 yards during the regular season, man. That's his first 200-yard season.
Yeah.
200.
Yeah.
In 4 years.
Yeah.
And $10 million. And again, looked great in the offseason. Not saying he can't do it. I don't know if he can do it, though. And
that 45 for 500, if that's where he winds up, that's not going to be a big surprise to me, right? And they were willing to spend that money before they made the trade for Hunter, right? Like they did that before they brought in Travis Hunter, who looks like he should be the 2, right? And whatever they're going to be doing on offense, it's a matter of how much you want to expose him, right, on both sides of the ball. And that'll be a game plan, we think, kind of situation week to week right now. So I think there will be weeks where Diami's going to be more relied on. Mm-hmm. I do think that's the reality of the roster situation that the Jaguars have. So I'm with you. I'm not saying in 30 is too low.
All right, how many games will Diami start if he's healthy?
Better be all of them, right?
Right? I mean, it's like 15 at the minute, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe based on formation, you come out with a heavy package, and maybe you've got Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter on the field. But Diami's going to start every game.
Yeah.
Basically, right? And Hunter will, I would think, most games. It'd be interesting to see because they do have all these, this idea of what they want to use the tight end for as a kind of a sixth offensive lineman. At least the ones beyond Brenton Strange. I don't expect much in the way of pass production, but Diami last year in Washington started 3 games the whole season, right? Had 40 targets, caught 30 of them for 308 yards. So 45 catches is only an extra 50% of what he did last year and only 3 starts. And that yardage that you're talking about, 450, that's about a fair extrapolation if he just continued at that same pace. If that's what they get out of Diami Brown, I think that's a massive disappointment this year. Based on, what they look. Put it this way. If they couldn't get a deal done with Cleveland to move up and get Travis Hunter, do you think they were drafting Teteroa McMillan?
No, they were drafting Genty.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're drafting Genty. So would they have added a wide receiver at some point? Maybe with the 36th pick, right? But it would have been a lesser player, less likely to make an impact. And so you're counting a lot on this guy who in his career in the regular season has had 784 yards in 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, when you just look at the raw production, there's none.
Well, and you start thinking about these numbers, and it's, put the number at 51, because then the math gets easy, because if he's available for all the games, that's 3 a week, right? For the 17 games, that's 3 a week that he would be having to get. I don't think that's crazy, right? But I do think the math on figuring out what it's going to look like in those weeks where they do really want to feature Hunter, right, in the pass game, I think it does have some impact on that. I don't think expecting 50 out of Diami Brown is out of the question.
No, I think 50 is a good number. That's
right.
That's probably a good number. And again, depends on the health of all the guys, but what the game plan is and how involved. I think Travis Hunter, look, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't find ways to get the ball in his hands early in football games.
I expect Travis Hunter to be that 65 to 70 guy.
I don't expect. Let's get today's 10-10 take, Dylan, if you could, while I'm thinking of this, if you would.
10-10.
10-10 take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take is serviced by Ideal Conditions Heating and Air, your go-to local HVAC company, veteran owned and operated.
All right, Tony, I was kind of mid-sentence. I thought this would make a good opportunity. This is a statement that should not be controversial at all, but it's just so basic and baseline, it kind of is depressing. I don't think Liam Cohen and company are stupid, and I don't think they're going to coach stupidly, okay? I think the Jaguars' offensive coaching staff coached stupidly at times last year. When you look, you see the number that came out on how few yards that Brian Thomas Jr. had in the first quarter
93
of games. 93 in the first quarter of games. We can't get this guy rolling earlier over the course of 17 games?
Yeah.
You're getting him 5 yards a game in the first quarter of games? And we're behind now. We're going to have to use him to catch up.
If he had that in the first quarter against Carolina, we wouldn't even blink.
Right. We'd be like, that's a hell of a quarter.
It's a heck of a quarter, but it wouldn't be a big surprise.
Well, within his capabilities, right? So I don't think that we're going to have to sit here all year and beg to get the proper amount of attention paid to the guys that we think are frontline players. How many frontline players do the Jags have, particularly now, Tony, after Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk were hurt last year? Why? Okay, we're going to slow roll. We do have a couple of vets who've done some good things here. And it did look different. The depth chart did look different when those guys were healthy. But damn it, man, it then took us until Mac Jones is in there to figure out that they can't stop this guy even if they know it's coming. I don't think Liam Cohen and Grant Yudinsky and company are stupid. I don't think they're going to coach stupidly. At least that is my hope. Will they do things that I reflect on and say, well, that was stupid? Yes, because everyone does, right? I do stupid things all the time and get called out for it, and rightfully so, and I'm sure they will as well. But damn, you don't shove your chips to the center of the table and the first hand of the night. It's like somebody goes, do you go all in at the World Series of Poker on your first hand if you get pocket aces? Well, the hell you do. Of course you go all in. I'm going, I got the best hand on the table. Yeah. How often am I going to get all my money in? They're like, the best hand is if we land Travis Hunter. So we got to shove the resources in there to make this happen because he's going to be a unique star, and he's not only going to star on one side, he's going to star on both. I don't think they did it just so we could play on both sides. And so with that, I don't think they're done. Now, granted, got to have a plan. You can't wear them out. But I don't think we're going to be going in week 4. How come Travis Hunter's only getting 2 looks on offense a week, Tone? That'd be insanity.
Yeah, no.
Why are you making that move then, right? I mean, so...
No, he'll be getting the ball 5 or 6 times a week.
Basic competence can raise the floor of this team and probably win you 2 or 3 games just on basic strategic and tactical competence.
Well, and it doesn't take a genius to look at the options the Jaguars have. Right, on offense at this point, they got 1 star right now in Brian Thomas Jr., and they have a couple other players that could be stars, right, in their offense, and that would be Hunter and Trevor Lawrence. Like, I think that's what they can build the whole thing around is those 3 guys, and you get the offensive line competent enough that the run game can be effective when you need the run game to be effective. But you don't even need necessarily a star in the run game, and I don't know that they feel like they have one at this point in time. But I think they feel like they have 3 guys that should be stars, right, on offense. And so you got to figure out a way to feature these 3 guys, right? Make it as good as it can be for Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball to Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. That's the offense of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that includes running the football, but it's so that we can throw it to Brian Thomas Jr. That's why we want to run the football, is so that we can throw it to our guy.
Right.
That's the idea.
They also said we're going to run the offense through him, basically.
Yeah.
We're going to feature, and this is before Travis Hunter, but I don't think that changes.
No.
He's still the top of the hill.
Yep.
Top of the heat, man. On the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, I'd challenge anyone to find a stupider professional sports season than the 2024 Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, really? How about the 2021 Jacksonville Jaguars? I mean, for God's sakes, Urban Miller. Anyway, I get what you're saying.
Dumb.
A little hyperbole, right? And I'm sure there are examples of dumber things, but that's the thing. We're frustrated because we see it up close, and it seems so obvious. And I know people say, you don't play the game, or you can't, I'm never going to take your opinion over somebody who played. Well, some people who played the game, Doug Peterson played the game.
Yeah.
He also won a Super Bowl.
And
that doesn't mean he didn't make just tactical blunder after tactical blunder.
Right. And the opinion that we share is not completely uninformed by people who played the game.
Correct.
Right? Like, we've talked to people who played.
You get 2 people who play the game under the exact polar opposite of an argument. Who are you going with then? Right? I don't know. But anyway, I'm just fired up to be back, man. I'm fired up that we actually can see this start to gel together. We hope over the next couple of weeks. The preseason game 1 will be here before you know it with the Steelers, and on we go, and we get into the new season. We can just, stop all the happy talk. And again, I'd rather focus on the positive potential of this football team than sit here every day and go, damn, man, we did offensive line. Damn, we didn't do this. Damn, we are.
Plenty of time if it goes bad to talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if it does, we'll dwell on it and we'll live in it so darn much. All right, let's take a time out here, 641-1010 if you want to get in. Let's get back to some of the other factors here. The X factor, clearly going to be Travis Hunter for the Jacksonville Jaguars for a variety of reasons. There are more than one X factor on a team. Dewey Wingard could be a massive X factor for this team. Caleb Ransall could be an X factor for this team if he starts from day one. Wyatt Milum, any of these guys. Tank Bigsby, Wyatt Milum, Maason Smith, and Dewey Winguard are the 4 in today's Chad and Sandy real estate poll question of the day here on Jaguars Today. Out of that quartet, which single player starts the most games for this version of the Jacksonville Jaguars? Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Apex Roofing and Contracting. Yeah, it's hot out now. Maybe the sun is scorching you, but man, when that rain comes, you know it is no joke. Rainy season, you got to make sure your roof doesn't have any damage, leaks, or is just plain worn out. Apex is local, dependable. They're going to show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. That's right, Apex Roofing and Contracting locally in Jacksonville Beach. No shortcuts, no stress, only quality work you can trust. Reach for the peak, Apex Roofing and Contracting, or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. 1010XL, where even strike 2 sounds great.
Call 904-500-COOL. Ideal Conditions.
Want to support a locally and veteran-owned company? If you need a new AC, we should be your first and only call. Ideal Conditions keeps you cool. Just ask your AC. Call 904-500-COOL or visit idealconditionsjacks.com.
Call 904-500-COOL.
Honk if you see us. Call for service.
Ideal Conditions.
Idealconditionsjacks.com.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Hey, Hicken here. Think you got the ugliest garage floor on the First Coast? Your garage a crack-stained hot mess? Hold on to your squeegee. Checkmate Coatings is hunting for the worst garage floor out there. And the winner gets a free garage coating makeover. Whoa! Take 10 seconds. Snap a pic of that garage eyesore. Register at checkmatecoatings.com/contests for a chance to win a free floor coating. It's easy. Just snap a quick pic and enter for a chance to win at checkmatecoatings.com/contest. Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
Dreamfinders Homes, Monday.
On Jaguars Today.
Joe C. for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. And if your dream is to create that space where you're living large in your backyard, then you need to get with the good people at CSS. They put a gas log in our fireplace, an awesome fire pit out back where the kids can toast s'mores and we can just hang out and watch the game. It's all part of your outdoor living experience with CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living.
You dream it, we build it. CSS.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out The Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At The Y, summer camps every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
I'm Max Fink, and I'll bring you the Gator Report several times weekly to keep you connected to Gainesville.
The Gator Report, put together by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gator!
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Maxed out on credit cards? Struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
This is Joe C. from XL Primetime and stoked to crank up the 9 after 5 once again at the Golf Club of Southampton. Every Wednesday, a little after 5, the gang at Southampton will be hosting us with a new game, and I'm inviting you to be a part of it. Now, through the summer stretch, break up the week with a little hump day fun every Wednesday. Call 287-PLAY to get on the tee sheet. There'll be food afterwards and prizes, including playing for a membership at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and hit the tee with Joe C.
Are you living with diabetic neuropathy? That pain and numbness in your hands or feet? What about chronic knee or shoulder pain? Maybe you've tried various treatments, but they've been ineffective. Now there's a solution. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso specializes in advanced pain management and offers breakthrough neuromodulation treatments for those conditions. His innovative treatments target the source of your pain, offering relief where medications may fall short. All procedures are performed outpatient with no hospitalization required. Just a chance for you to feel and live better. If you want to learn more, Dr. Formoso is hosting free informational classes where he'll explain the benefits of neuromodulation therapies and how they can help eliminate your pain. Spaces are limited, so call to reserve your spot now with offices on the South Side, West Side, and Jacksonville Beach. Relief is possible with Formoso Spine and Joint Pain Specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
On the text line, Tony, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, what's y'all's take on Dennis Gardeck being placed on IR, on PUP, not IR, but PUP?
Not a surprise.
Right? All right. And do you think there's a battle for the third pass rusher, or do we keep 4 primary edge rushers? Well, there's a battle for the 4th pass rusher. Thank you. I would fully anticipate Emmanuel Ogbah is the first guy off the bench in 3rd and long situations, right? And we shuffle him around and line him up wherever. But he's this is from Bush Drive Ridge. Thinks there's a battle for the 3rd spot. I think maybe he's forgetting Ogbah here. And Smoot has to return better than he was when he got hurt to secure an active roster spot. I don't think Dwan Smoot is guaranteed a roster spot here.
No.
I don't think Gardeck is either.
Didn't think it when they signed him. Or whatever. Yeah.
It'll be interesting, though, because they, I'm sure, anticipated that, well, I believe they anticipated that Gardeck is going to be a process to get him back on the field. But, you know, because we're talking in the break, you think about it last year when Gabe Davis signed here. Almost any one of his regular seasons equaled the production De'Ami Brown had in 4 regular seasons. I mean, that's how close it was, right? He's like a 700-yard guy.
Yep.
7 or 8 touchdowns. And yet we're looking at a situation where Gabe Davis not even on a roster in the NFL. Now, he's still banged up, but so is Gardeck, right? I mean, certain guys, if you know, and Gabe Davis did have a couple of visits with teams this summer. And who's to say, you know, maybe as soon as he shows he can get back out there and run. I always wonder about that because if you think, all right, the guy will be healthy in 2 weeks, we'll sign him then. Well, could be 4 other teams thinking the same thing.
Could be.
You know, I always wonder about that kind of thing. And if there are no protections in terms of guaranteed money, why not get the guy in earlier? I think the Jags look at Gardeck as a guy that even being hurt, they thought was worth putting on this roster for the potential that he could bring. Special teamer as well.
Yeah.
But to give you a little extra juice off the edge this year. So, I mean, Ogbah to me, if you want to talk about the 4th guy, Smoot, Gardeck, if he makes the team. I don't think, I don't expect it to be Miles Cole. Quite frankly, Tone, I'd be shocked if the 4th pass rusher, the 4th edge rusher, makes a big impact on this team, period.
Right.
Provided that Josh Hines, Allen, and Trayvon Walker stay healthy this year.
Yeah.
And so if you have 3, I mean, how often have we had 3 guys, like a 3rd guy that you go, okay, at least he's accomplished a little something like Emmanuel Ogbah has in his National Football League career. Now, the third...
We haven't had that since Calais and Jan left.
Right. But the third leading pass rusher for this team may be a defensive tackle, whatever. But just strictly speaking about the edge rusher position, but it is when you look at it, like you always like, we had a guy that we gave how much money to, and we're counting on for how big of a role?
Right.
And
well, I should say Arden Key gave him that for a season.
Arden Key, yeah, that's right. I mean, there are guys like that, right? But beyond Arden Key.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you've got a third that you're actually...
4 deep is not common.
Right. We're not the Eagles of a few years ago going to have 4 guys with 10 sacks. Wish we were. Be great if we were. But
everybody does.
You see these guys, like how much upgrading do the Jags need? Well, again, Gabe Davis, is he healthy? No, but I feel like if Gabe Davis was the apple of some team's eye, that he'd be on a roster right now, and you'd put him on the physically unable to perform list, but you'd be like, hey, here's the timetable, and let's see, even if we have to open the season with him, pup, it saves us a roster spot, whatever, we think he can ball. Who knows? Maybe he goes, because he has done more than a guy like De'Ami Brown. De'Ami Brown, right, could be because the James Gladstone touch. James Gladstone signed this guy, right? And look, there's the optimism, right?
There is.
And you're going to have that. And because we think that there's a new way of thinking and a new process and a bold new vision and all this, that they're going to make the right decisions. This is not a bulky decision, for instance. Well, Bulky also traded back and got Brian Thomas Jr. So just because one guy made the decision doesn't mean it's the right one necessarily. I mean, James Gladstone probably has screwed up a decision or two this offseason. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, we won't know until it happens.
Right?
Yeah.
Odds are that that's the case. All right, why don't we take a tour around the National Football League?
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Tennessee quarterback Will Levis will be undergoing surgery on his right shoulder and miss the entire 2025 season. Kansas City and defensive end George Karlaftis have agreed to a 4-year, $93 million deal with $62 million in guaranteed money. Detroit head coach Dan Campbell announced over the weekend that defensive lineman Levi Onwuzurike will miss the entire 2025 season because of an ACL injury in Seattle. Has released tight end Noah Fant after 3 seasons there with the Seahawks.
All right, so Karlaftis got $23 million a year, 23 and a half, something like that.
Somewhere in there,
Is that what it works out to? Man, wouldn't you love to have Trayvon Walker under contract for anything close to that? Now, I think Trayvon's been a little bit better than Karlaftis, but keep in mind, came in the league at the same time, right? And Karlaftis has had 6, 10.5, and 8 sacks. It's not bad production.
Yeah.
What's Trayvon's total? What do you have his first year? Like 4.5, something like that?
Something in there, yeah.
So they're probably close.
Like, I do think it's interesting because they did come into the league at the same time, and good for the Chiefs for being able to get it done, right? Like, this is the first opportunity they've had to get it done. They got it done, right? They're not going to have to go through the drama next offseason of what do we do with Karlaftis, 5th-year option, all those kind of things. They're not going to have to deal with any of that kind of thing with Karlaftis. They got it done now. And look, we started talking about this months ago before they even mentioned it, right? That the coach was asked about, have you talked to Trayvon Walker about an extension yet? And he said, yes. We had been talking about it weeks before that, right? Like the potential of they could do this now with Trayvon Walker. I am not surprised that to this point in this process, if I try to put myself in the Walker side of it, and if I'm Trayvon Walker and you come to me and you make that kind of offer, right, where it is to that $23, $24 million a year, I would be tempted if I'm Trayvon to say, I'll wait a year.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? And like next offseason.
Especially when the top of the market's now in the 40s, I don't think he'll get that.
I don't either. But I think that if I say I wait a year, like if from Trayvon's perspective, if I wait a year, I might be getting the deal at 30, 31, 32.
Right. It's going to be closer to 35 maybe than it is to 23.
Right. And good on the Chiefs for getting it done with him now.
By the way, Karlaftis has a half sack more than Trayvon Walker. So we go, Trayvon's a better two-way player. Maybe. I don't know. I don't watch Karlaftis down in and down out.
Right. And Karlaftis was one of those guys that was, I think he was 11th on that edge rusher ranking last week. He was one of the guys that was among the honorable mentions, and I can remember the name being right there around 11.
I'd be shocked if Trayvon comes in at that number, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Trayvon doesn't make more plays in the run game. 162 tackles in 3 years. Karlaftis has 115. But again, like you said, the perception is Karlaftis is what? Because he has a half sack more than Trayvon? I'm not sure how that works.
It's the Chiefs thing.
It's the Chiefs thing, and it's not, Jags, downgrade. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
How often are we seeing this guy? We see Karlaftis shoved down our face because the Chiefs win, and he goes deep into the postseason.
Yeah.
Every single year.
And there's that.
He's a good player. I'm not knocking him.
The Walker being the number 1 pick in the draft, and he's not Aiden. So a lot of people look at him and say, well, he must be bad. Right? Like that seems to be the conversation about Trayvon Walker, and it's just not the reality with it. But I do think if I'm Trayvon Walker and you offer me the contract Karlaftis just got, that likely I'd be saying I'll wait a year.
What about 30?
30, I think I'd do it.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah.
But I can't speak for Trayvon, man.
Right. Like, I think that's the kind of number the offer it would have to be to get it done now.
Honestly, now, like, it's almost like, yeah, there's an injury risk, but these guys take insurance policies out. And you see guys that get hurt that still get paid.
Yeah.
Right? So I think, for Trayvon, he's sitting in a pretty good spot. And
absolutely.
Let's hope that's in the quarterback's lap a lot this year. All right, well, take a time out here. Come back and look at today's Chad and Sandy Real Estate question of the day. Which of the quartet of players that we put out there today, Tank Bigsby, Wyatt Milum, Maason Smith, Dewey Wingard, will start the most games this year? Who do we think? And who are you saying? We'll discuss when we return to the moment on Jaguars Today here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Perfect passes.
Great pass.
Thrilling moments.
Did that just happen?
Winning plays.
Touchdown!
Your radio home for play-by-play. 1010XL.
This is Jennifer Marion at Randy Marion Cadillac. Are you ready to drive away today in luxury? Then you should check out Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville.
Discover our luxurious lineup with over 100 Cadillacs to choose from, including the stunning Cadillac IQ, Lyric, Optique, and Vistique.
And here's something important. The $7,500 tax credit on EV vehicles will be gone in just 90 days.
That's right. Don't miss your chance to save while driving in style.
Visit us at Randy Marion Cadillac.
Plus tax tag Title $9.99 admin fee and resist all on approved credit.
As a Florida homeowner, you're no stranger to mosquito problems. And although it's tempting to use DIY methods to get rid of them, mosquitoes are relentless. That's why it's important to enlist the help of the mosquito experts at Florida Pest Control. At Florida Pest Control, we offer specialized treatment solutions that are effective against mosquito infestations and are committed to keeping our customers protected year-round. For your free quote, give us a call or visit flapest.com today. Florida Pest Control, your local mosquito control experts.
Denny Thompson here. Look, don't get left in the dark. We're all trying to reason with hurricane season, so at least be prepared. For top-of-the-line generators in Jacksonville, I turn to Tyson. Licensed pros at Tyson deliver reliable, whole-home standby generators and provide fast repair service. They even do custom installations for local businesses, so don't wait. Ensure seamless installation and peace of mind. Call Tyson now for a free estimate on generator services, TysonInc.com.
Jaguars Today Monday is built by Dream Finders Homes.
Official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is poured at Southern Coast Seafood, now open Mondays. Enjoy craft for $12.99 a pound on Tuesdays. Drink Brackish Wednesdays with $1 oyster on the half shell. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka made right here in Jacksonville for whatever your sport is. If your sport is crab at Southern Coast, your vodka is Brackish. Southern Coast Seafood, now open Mondays. Brackish Vodka, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Florida heat hitting like a heavyweight? Time to call in the champ. KO Electric and HVAC. We knock out the heat and power up your comfort. Fast, reliable, and undefeated in home service. KOElectricJacks.com. KOElectricJacks.com.
If you're 35 to 75, you could get life insurance today. No medical exam needed. I'm Cody with Harborstone Financial. One call could protect your family for life. Call me today, 904-885-9566.
Teach your birdies to sing with Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros on Brunch with the Tour. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation and Apex Roofing and Contracting. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A, 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, let's talk about diamond cutting. How is a diamond price affected by the way it is cut?
Frank, that's probably the most important question asked about diamonds, because the trade-off between a diamond cut for maximum beauty and one that's not is the diamond's carat weight. You see, diamond cutters buy rough diamonds based on quality and weight. So as they cut the rough diamond, everything cut away affects profits. However, there's specific known cutting parameters, and each deviation from these means they have a heavier, less beautiful diamond. Unfortunately, a customer can't detect all those cutting imperfections. They need expert help about a diamond's cut grade. You see, for any round diamond of a particular color, clarity, and carat weight, there are as many as 10 different prices that can vary by as much as 50%. At Underwoods, we look specifically at how a diamond's cut before we look at anything else, because it's the most important factor when it comes to a diamond's beauty, and to us, whether it should carry the Underwood name or not.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
Summertime is busy with graduation parties, summer barbecues, festivities, family gatherings. The month of July, National Carpet Cleaning Month. So Zero Res is offering $45 per room of carpet clean and 20% off air duct cleaning services as well. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com or call them 287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spelled backwards or forwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res. Football season is almost here, so before it arrives, I'm going to get my home organized. Lauren Brooks here at Closets by Design creates custom storage for every space, lifestyle, and budget. From closets to garages to laundry rooms or entertainment centers, anywhere that needs to be organized. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off with free installation. Yes, that's 40% off plus an additional 15% off during the month of July. Call 878-9393 or visit closetsbydesign.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, Tony, I think the only thing I have to distract me from Jaguar football now is the Americans' inevitable disappointing play in the Ryder Cup coming up, because you know they're going to break my heart, but that's about where things stand. Scotty gets it done this weekend. Haven't once brought up the Yankees winning 2 out of 3 versus Atlanta, because Atlanta's not good enough for me to brag.
Yeah, congratulations.
I mean, right?
They really aren't.
Whatever. We're not either, honestly. We're just treading water. All right, so where am I at here? Question of the day, Tony. Which of these Jaguars will start the most games in 2025? None of them guaranteed to start at all. But I think I could see I find it hard to believe Dewey's going to start the whole year. I could see him starting some games, could see him. And who knows, man? Look, go out there and prove it. Who am I? I don't have any say in the matter. Maason Smith right now with 48% of this vote, 29% roughly going to Wyatt Milum. And Tank Bigsby with 13%. I wonder if you polled the Jaguar media, if they would feel the same way, as we've had, 3 people who cover the team very closely join us in the last couple of weeks and say they think Tank Bigsby should be looked at as the starter on this football team, Tony. So who out of this quartet to you starts the most games this year?
If picking the one, it would be Wyatt Milum.
Yeah, me too, I think.
Right, because I think he's the one that I would look at and say there's the real potential for him to start 17, right? Because he could win the left guard job coming out of training camp, and that's it.
Right. Seems like it's a 1v1 battle.
Right. So that would be who I would have at the top of the list. trying to even put it in order for me. I know Maason would be at the bottom of my list.
He would be third on mine.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be at the very bottom for me. And it's, again, just style of player and what you're looking for. He's not a traditional nose tackle.
Right.
He could beat out Eric Armstead. He could. Okay? He could start next to Armstead as well. Or he could just be, first guy off the bench in a 3-man rotation that he plays equally or even a little bit more than your starting nose tackle, but he just doesn't start those games.
Yeah, I think I would probably have Winguard second on my list.
Really?
Right. I do think he's going to be the starting free safety until they feel comfortable with Caleb Ransaw being the starting free safety.
Okay.
Is the way the situation feels to me.
But they did take Ransaw. Well, even if we say right at the exact same spot as Milum, they took him one pick ahead of him.
Yeah.
He's
a third-round pick. Like, the idea is he's going to start.
And he's their second pick.
Right.
And,
it's just a matter of when he's ready to do it. So it's how long is Winguard going to be the starting free safety? I think he will start there of when he's ready to do it. So it's how long is the season as their starting free safety.
Okay.
How long until Ransaw is ready and they're comfortable with him being in that position? I do not know.
Do you think Savage makes his football team?
Yes or no right now, I'd say no.
I've seen projections where he's not on there for sure. See, that's why, to me, it's as thick a battle as running back is.
Yeah.
When you include Darnell Savage, who's the incumbent starter, and you add Ransaw, Dewey Wingard's got to kind of leapfrog both of those guys. Could Antonio Johnson be in the mix? And I get it, strong versus free safety. But I feel like in today's game, oftentimes safeties are interchangeable. But I do think they want Ransaw as a last line of defense, more traditional free safety guy with the speed and tackling ability to clean up other mistakes that are going to happen.
And I do think 3 and 4 in my mind are really tight. And as we discussed earlier in the show, I do think ETN will be the guy getting the first look when we get to training camp on Wednesday. And I certainly think it's a really good chance that ETN winds up being the guy getting the first carry of the season.
I do too, but I could also see Bigsby starting all 17 games.
Right.
And doing it as a 1-2 punch with Bajal too.
The possibility of that is there, which is why I think I would have the tank thing at 3 on my list and Maason at 4.
All right, so you are Milum, Wingard, Bigsby, Smith.
Yeah.
I am Milum, Bigsby, Smith, Wingard. Dylan Denmark, who starts the most games out of that quartet? Tank does.
And then I'd go Milum, Dewey, Maason.
Really? Interesting. Man, I mean, close to 50% of people think it'll be Maason Smith, and maybe it will, right? We said it going into the draft, Tone, and I think the Jags showed some degree of confidence in that position group. Now, granted, you have to be in the position to select a guy that you think is the right value, right, in order for you to take him.
Right,
but we saw that they weren't satisfied with what they had at edge. It didn't line up value-wise in the draft, and they immediately went out and got Agba. They didn't say, well, here's our situation at defensive tackle. It didn't work out in the draft, and then they went to a plan B. Yep. No, they said, here's the plan. Plan A and B and C are basically get better production out of these guys. You can
they
look
don't dislike their in-house options.
Right, you can look at Eric Armstead as a brand new starter on this football team, if you want to look at it that way. But, yeah, I think they like the options they have better than the perception of how they were going to like those options was, if that makes sense. Heading into the NFL draft, again, Maason Smith, a guy who was talked about at times at LSU as a future number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. So he was seen as that kind of elite prospect. And there are things, you look at his physical size, his strength, his quickness at his size, things he can do if the motor runs at a high level. And that's part of it from Maason Smith. He admitted that last year. We haven't heard that talk from this coaching staff about him this year. And I would hope that message was received. I hope it'll be received by Anton Harrison. And he comes out there and he leaves no doubt as to who the best offensive lineman on this football team is.
Yeah. Look, and I do think part of this today is it's hard for me to not see it in part as a reaction to what they saw him do on the hunt last week. I mean, Maason was the guy on the tug of war that's just throwing people
Right,
around
he was a
on the
beast.
road.
There's no question.
Right,
But you don't play tug of war on the defensive line. You go the other way.
Right, like I had so many people on Fridays, like tweeting in, texting in, like, did you see Maason? Did you see Maason? Did you see Maason? Like, I do think there is a part of the fan base that is very locked in on what they just most recently saw him do.
And, they may be right.
They may be right. Right? Like, I think you can make...
He's a specimen.
As we just went through it, there's a convincing argument for all four of these guys winning the poll, right, this morning. Just me having Smith at 4 is not that I don't see him as a legitimate candidate to lead this poll. I do.
I have a hard time thinking Dewey will start the most games. Again, like you put it, opening the season, I could see that. And even if you think he might be the most likely guy to start week 1 out of this, I still don't put him above the others in terms of the most games
to play
this year. I do think they want Ransall. So eventually, once you have that comfort level, but look, Dewey, go out there, earn that starting job coming out of camp, make a couple of plays in week 1. Jags beat Carolina and lock it down, man. I mean, there should not be any favorite sons. The favorite sons should be the ones who produce for this football team.
Mm-hmm.
And with a fresh set of eyes in the front office and on the coaching staff, I mean, why wouldn't you go with that? And now the moves they make kind of indicate to you who they think those guys will be. Right, obviously.
Yeah, and I think it's the true test of how good or bad your general manager is going to be. Like all the decisions that he made in this offseason to throw off all the decisions that Trent Baalke made, that's easy. Right? Like saying no to the guy that the last guy brought in, that's easy. When it's your guy and you had your own plan for him and you start trying to implement that plan and you're watching it not happen.
And he's struggling.
Right. That's when you're willing to pull the trigger on, okay, then we can't go that direction.
But Tone, this can't just be a developmental year.
No.
This football team. Sorry. The bar's got to be higher than that.
Yep.
You got to come in and win football games, man. We're tired of treading water and we're playing for the future and we're doing all this. And again,
the season can go off the rails enough that kind of thing happens, but it has to go off the rails before you do it.
Win 40% of the one-loss games, the one-score games that you lost last year, and you double your win total.
Yep.
There. Man, I haven't seen Matt Hayes in the same airspace in a long time. It's crazy. Things are changing around here at 1010 XL. Let's welcome in XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill on 1010 XL.
Good morning, Matthew. How are you?
Greetings, fellas.
Greetings.
Fantastic.
Fresh back from SEC Media Days, right? And literally, I'm sitting here thinking, will it be Lauren or Taylor today? I don't know. Oh, that's right. I was gone all last week, and I know things have changed here, but welcome back to the early afternoon. What will XL Primetime focus on today?
Camp starts this week. So
baby.
We're getting into that. We're going to talk about Joe C's on his way to Charlotte right now for ACC Media Days. I'm leaving for Vegas in about 4 or 5 hours for Big Ten Media Days. So we'll be a lot of college football, a lot of NFL. We're going to get into how Jim Harbaugh prepared for his national championship season at Michigan. And it's not going to be what you expect to see.
Man,
he got after it. Let's put it that way.
You won that assignment. I mean, come on. Where's ACC Media Days this year?
I believe it's in Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean,
it's not bad, but it's not
Charlotte's
Vegas.
Fine. Ain't Vegas. I mean, Pinehurst is one thing.
Yeah.
It all depends on what you're in for. All right, Matt, welcome back. As I said, I know you've been back in the early afternoons, but look forward to a great football season coming up, man.
Yeah, can't wait.
All right, have a great
Thanks,
show.
fellas.
There you go. Matt Hayes with the crew with XL Primetime. Joe C on the road. Big Circe in the building, and we are ready to roll. Of course, Tom McManus for week 2 with Helmets and Heels coming up today at 2 o'clock. At the Francis Show, and on we go, Tony. I'm going to put this decrepit-looking picture of me to good use and get out there at training camp. But tomorrow, Tuesday, Top 5, what are the most intriguing or interesting positional battles that you see being waged in training camp? We're going to have a lot of overlap in this, but it's going to be the more interesting thing will be how we prioritize them, I think, heading into it. So good to be back with you, Tone.
Yeah, man.
After a half month of absence. And
we're back.
For the better or worse part of it, we are back together with just a scant few days off between now and the end of the football season. For Tony Smith, for my son Dylan Denmark, my golf son, my twin, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for tuning in to Jaguars Today, and do stick around for XL Primetime coming up next here on 1010 XL and 92.5 FM.
The Maxwell House coffee will live on forever.
But first,
let's meet our contestants. Behind curtain.